Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Davis of Flash Trades, and I've got a special one here today. About to start getting back into trading after a long hiatus, and I'm going to just be going over my typical analysis, especially after coming back after a long time out. Main thing that we're trying to do is not just come back and blow everything and make sure we build some confidence before we're actually putting a lot of money on the line again. So I'm just going to see if we can get the pulse of the market right here. As you see, we're looking at the high time frames, and you see that large liquidity wick. We're on the monthly right now, but you see two locations where that's happened recently. Obviously, the one that just happened and the one that I just directed the mouse to. So I'm not. So let me see here. So it looks like after that liquidity wick, there was that push up. So I'm anticipating the same thing here. That being said, on the higher time frames, it looks like we will be primarily looking for buys. So let's see, now we're going into the lower time frame. So now this is the weekly chart. Similar setup, you're just seeing where we are making higher highs and higher lows. So it's going to be a uptrend here. And I don't normally go to the monthly and weekly, but since I haven't traded it in a long time, I just wanted to kind of see what everything was looking like. So it pretty much did what we were thinking was going to happen. We'd have that tracement, and then still kind of keeping that trend line that I drew right here. So it's going to wait on that. And this is from May 1st. So this is Thursday. I'm actually recording this voiceover on Sunday today. So yeah, so you just basically see what I'm doing there. I'm just I made that trend line. I just usually make sure it touches about 3 points to be a trend line. So you see the 3 spots that line touched, and we're just kind of seeing where we could anticipate whether or not we'll get more of a pullback before heading up, like touching that trend line and then coming back up, or we'll be able to determine that once we actually start marking up the charts. But that's basically what I'm doing. I'm zooming in, I'm changing the sizes just so I can kind of see if there's any supports, resistances that we're missing, or you know, you're obviously going to see things a little bit differently depending on where you have the chart set up. If you're completely zoomed in, you're obviously going to miss out on stuff. So that's the main reason I'm always moving that around. And we're moving into plotting the supports and resistances. The biggest thing about that is I try to only plot the ones that would be in play for that day. So once I start getting, let's say, I know this market makes it a little bit more difficult to determine that, so that's why I'm doing more than usual. But typically you wouldn't anticipate the market to move 1,000 points in one day. So I wouldn't have a resistance that's 1,000 points even showing on my 1,000 points above something that would be showing. But right now, since you know, I don't really know what's going to happen, I'm just going to put a little bit more lines than usual, but there's still really, there's not any benefit to one way or the other. It's just a personal preference. I found that after trading for a while, it just made the chart less cluttered just to have less of those supports and resistances showing up. But yeah, again, it's just kind of personal preference there. All right, so now we're moving down to the 4-hour. These ones are my favorite to act upon when I'm trading during the day. So because the 4 hours are like strong enough to where it just makes for good resistances and supports. Obviously the dailies would be good too, but usually you'll have a more 4-hour resistances and supports on your chart to play off of. But again, that can vary because obviously right here you see a lot of daily supports and resistances that were drawn on. And I'm just getting a vibe for how the chart is moving on the lower time frames. So you see it kind of did that, went up, bounced, but did not break the lows and then continued up. So I think this is where I'm kind of thinking if I wanted to have a play today, it would just be bouncing off that daily support. And I just fast forwarded a little bit, but I just finished plotting the 4-hour resistances and making sure to zoom out just so I can see how everything's looking so far. The 1 hour is going to be the last level that I plot. I don't go lower than that, so I'll never have like a 30-minute resistance and support or a 15-minute, but that's just because of my trading style. So it'll just kind of depend on what you need, but usually I think having 3 levels, regardless of, so if you're wanting to use, 1 hour, 30-minute, 15-minute, or something else to plot, or just at least have 3 different time frames that you have resistances and supports for, I would say. And just moved on to plotting the 1 hour. So I'll just fast forward past this part. Same process, just getting those on the chart here. Perfect. So we have everything plotted, all of the supports, resistances that we need to start our trading day. Obviously, like I said, we are just doing practice for probably about a week or so, just to get back in the swing of things and get that confidence up. And I always like to start with the trend lines after I do this, just to see, okay, what can this bounce off of? What possibilities or probabilities will occur today? And had a few things that I was thinking. The first option, the one that I drew first, was the one that I was thinking would happen most likely. But one thing too, you'll notice like I'm not making like crazy estimations. I'm not guessing that it's going to fly up 1,000 points and then retrace. I'm doing basically these lines at levels that I'm already seeing where resistances could occur, and just based on how much the chart has moved already, where I think a retracement would need to happen, or where I think it could spike up to but not be able to get past, things like that. So that's all we're doing, but that's, I think, been one of the most helpful to kind of start figuring out what plays I should be looking for. And I'm trying to do one of my favorite setups for my stop loss, where you have 2 supports in your stop loss for you. And what that does, it just gives you a little bit more stability in the trade, because it would have to break through 2 levels of support for the trade to not work for you. But based on how the chart is, it seems like that'd be a pretty difficult trade to get. And then also the top one isn't even a good RR. Yeah, that one that I just had the mouse on there. So that's what I'm looking at. It basically just looks like I'm not going to be getting, if I was to be actually trading, this would be a day where I'd be like, okay, this doesn't look like there's anything set up for me today. It looks like the movement happened I don't have my sessions indicator on, but it looks like the move happened in London session. So it looks like we missed the move. It was either London or Asian session where that move happened. All right, guys, now for the most important part, we're going to time travel to tomorrow. That's right, you heard me right. Time traveling to tomorrow. Let's see what happened, and let's see if any of our estimations were correct. All right, so we are going to tomorrow. That's Friday, May 2nd, in 3, 2, 1. Guys, Davis of Flash Trades here. It is May 2nd. Have the chart pulled up. I had my estimations of where the chart could head to. Was obviously leaning towards basically having a pullback before headed further up, and it looks like that essentially happened, but there wasn't really any entry for us. So basically just zooming out, we will be clearing the chart and doing a new analysis, but just going through the time frames to see what happened yesterday. So I'm going back just so you guys can see where the chart was yesterday when we were doing our analysis, and then basically what happened after that. So, and essentially what you'll see here is we just didn't get the pullback to the level that we needed it to go to, which was basically down to that 1 hour support and the 4 hour support. That was one of our possible trades. So the pullback happened, but didn't pull back far enough. And then once it started moving up, the candles didn't even form in a way where like a trade could even happen. So that is basically how Thursday ended. And then we're about to move over to our Friday analysis. I'm going to clear the chart. We're going to do the same thing. And I would honestly suggest just clearing your chart off after each, day, so you can get a fresh analysis, even if a lot of the resistances and supports will be the same. The main reason is just so that your brain is fresh to what is actually going on in the charts, because you might have forgotten, oh, that support was there, yada yada, or you know, forgotten certain things. So it's just easier to just redo the analysis. That way you're not forgetting why that resistance is on your chart, or, you know, just being an idiot for no reason. So just like redo your, it literally takes, especially because right now I'm taking longer just so I can show you guys the process, and I knew I would be doing a voiceover, but bro, it takes like 5 minutes to do this. Like, it takes so little time to just like remark up your chart that, like, because I've lost trades for just having old lines on there and just like not wanting to do a new analysis. So it's just like, it's not worth, like, if trading is a lot of percentages, so it's not really worth skewing your results by doing stupid shit like that, honestly. So yeah, just like, I would just remark up your charts. So I'm doing the same exact thing. I'm probably just gonna like fast forward it because it doesn't change. I do the same exact thing. And one tip for the supports and resistances, you're always looking left from current price. So you're not going to be starting from the right side to find resistances. You're looking at the most current price and then seeing, okay, where's the next spot that it got stopped at, basically. And that's kind of how I do. That's how you make sure you don't have resistances that aren't in play on your chart. You want to just make sure you're starting from the right side. I know it sounds obvious, but that actually helped a lot to make sure the resistances were right for me. So and we just finished plotting all of the daily resistances, daily supports, 4 hour, 1 hour, everything. So we're just going to do the same thing. I do the same thing every time, guys. So we're just going to get our trend lines, possible trends that we think. Now today, my first trend line is I think we might get like an up, down, up instead of just a down, up. I think it has a little bit more to push up, and then I think it's going to get stopped basically at the highs of Asia session and then go down. That's my guesstimation for today. And then I just drew the trend line back in just so we can see that it is still like an uptrend. So there's not any reason that I would actually be going bears, even if it does go bearish today. And yeah, just go into the lower time frames. Same thing, gonna make a couple of possible options. So these ones are pretty low probability for me. I don't think we'll get to any area where these plays would be happening, because it's just, I don't know, the chart's kind of in limbo right now, and I think it would need to just push up, not be able to break through, and then have a really big dump. I'd rather have something like that. Yeah, basically get down to that second trade idea that I put on the thing, because I'm thinking that zone that I just put on the chart is going to just be a tough area for it to break through, and I'm not going to be buying at the highs, and I'm not going to be buying in a zone where there's just a lot of a muddy situation going on. Guys, we made it back to the present day. We are in modern times right now, May 4th, that is Sunday, and same day I'm going to be putting this video out. So just wanted to show you what happened. We were completely wrong about where the chart was going to move. So obviously I would only be trading if my trade ideas were in play. So the fact that this happened just means that there's no trades for me. But yeah, it looks like there was, I don't know if there was like, I think there was I think there was some big news actually. It was like employment news possibly. Yeah, so there was the non-farm employment change and some other employment news that dropped on Friday. And that is basically how I do break down my charts and get ready for the day. So this just makes it so that you're not basically getting caught out or not understanding what's going on in the chart or trying to make brash decisions. So there wouldn't really have been any point that I would have taken a trade today, especially after the 8:30 news. It's just not in a zone that I would have been trading, even though it did go up and we're obviously expecting upward move. If there's not a good entry, it's not worth it, guys. There wouldn't have been any stop loss, anything I could have done there. But that is how I like to break down my charts. It's very It's the same thing every time, so it's very kind of robotic in a way, and it just makes it to where everything's planned out. I'm not having to think of anything in the moment. Like, I'm not having to think of, oh, where are my trades going to be, where would possible stop losses be. It's already on my chart before I even take any trade in the day. So that is the goal, guys, just making it as simple as possible. And that is going to do it. So I hope you guys like this format. I'm going to try to do, there's going to be some more analysis like this, most likely. I'm going to have some of my actual trades as well, but appreciate you watching. This is going to be a pretty fun little thing that I'm doing now, just trying to get some more content out there. So definitely comment down below, subscribe to the channel, guys. We are trying to get to 100 subscribers. We're almost there. And yeah, hey, well, we will see you next week. We'll see if we can find any good trades, and have a good one.